What's going on, Fragrance family? It's your man Gator. Welcome to the channel, man. Today I wanted to come to you guys with the review of a fragrance that kind of took me by surprise, right? It's getting into that summer season, and I wanted to find something on my summer fragrance haul that was a little bit different, that kind of bucked the norm a little bit. Start looking into, you've got your citruses that are out there, you got your stuff with the mint, and I wanted to kind of go into something in a little bit of a different direction. I started kind of looking into more of the aquatic side, right? And one of the brands that is, notorious for their aquatics, man, is Bulgari. Just looking through their lineup, the aquamarine and all of these different aquatics out there, I started looking through it. I was like, ooh, all of these look really, good. Might be safe buys. See if I can, get something that's going to be a little bit different to kind of vary up my, fragrance repertoire. Well, one of the scents that I had kind of heard about some years back was a fragrance called Aqua Amara. Now, Aqua Amara was one of Bulgari's more popular scents, and unfortunately the thing's been discontinued. I started looking online to see if I could, find it anywhere, maybe through an eBay or something, and I could find it on eBay, but the prices were kind of jacked up. Of course they're going to be, because if it's discontinued, most people are gonna, hold on to that thing until they get something that's going to be close to the highest bidder, right? So started kind of looking around a little bit, and one of these fragrances that popped up was actually a clone of that Aqua Amara, and it was from this well, it's not from this, but this is it right here. So it's from Paris Corner. Now, we talked about Paris Corner repeatedly on this channel, man. It is definitely a fragrance house that is doing the Lord's work when it comes to trying to take fragrance DNAs and make them affordable for, him and her and everybody that doesn't always have the coin to drop, right? This is no exception to that. So this is Pendora Amorist, right? So I think Pendora is kind of their, I guess, kind of top of the line type of line here that they're going with the Paris Corner stuff. But when you look it up online, it usually says Paris Corner, Pendora Amorist, or you can just look up Pendora Amorist and it'll come up. But this is Pendora Amorist. Now, this is a clone of course, the Bulgari Aqua Amara. And the more I did research on it, the more I started checking out reviews and everything, the more I was like, oh, this isn't just a clone. This is almost a one-to-one of that Aqua Amara. And dare I say, a very, very, very nice scent in its own right. So I decided to go ahead and invest and buy it. It's a cheapie, of course, guys. It's like $35 to $40 for this, at least right now. Because to be completely honest, the quality in this thing is amazing. So let me start by let me show you the bottle here. So this is the Pendora Amorist, okay? So as you can see, same color scheme of the Aqua Amara bottle. It has that kind of orangey, bronzy type of color scheme, just like the Aqua Amara bottles did. Not quite the same pretty curved bottle that Bulgari has, but it's not really about the bottle as much as it is what's in the bottle. So this one has the exact same notes as that Aqua Amara does. If I go through the notes right quick here, it's got the top note of Sicilian Mandarin. The middle notes are watery notes and neroli. Now that's going to come into play, those watery notes. And then the base notes are olibanum and Indonesian patchouli leaf. So when you before I even do anything, let me do a little bit of a spray here, right? So as you can see, wow. So as you can see, the atomizer is not really that bad. It's actually a pretty good atomizer. It's not pressurized or anything like that, but it does give off a pretty good, spray when you spray it on. When you first spray this, the first thing you get is that Sicilian mandarin. Now, anytime you put Sicilian in front of something, whether it be Sicilian lemon or Sicilian lime, you start to think of sweetness, right? And that's exactly what you have here. You've got like that mandarin orange, but it comes across almost as candied, right? It's a very sweet and inviting type of citrus that you're getting out of this. That mandarin is, like I said, almost a candied type of feeling to it and smell when you get it. So you got that at the top, and it's almost immediately after you're greeted with that, you start to pick up a little bit of saltiness. Like it's very faint initially, but you start to pick up a little bit of saltiness. And while that is those watery notes, right? So you get a little bit of the bitterness coming in with the neroli as well in there. But so, you know, that bitterness is kind of starting to counteract the sweetness at the top. And this is probably about, I would say, 5 minutes into the dry down, it starts to do that. You start getting a little bit of the bitterness from the neroli, and it starts to smooth out. So it's not really too sweet and not too bitter. It's kind of just right. It's sitting in that middle plane, and it comes across almost like a salted orange, if that makes sense. It has those watery notes start really kind of kicking in and coming into play, and you feel almost a beach vibe when you get it. You feel like you're out in front of the salty water, right? You're at the beach, you're sipping on a ice cold lemonade, and you're just kind of looking over on the waves and everything, and that's the feeling that it invokes when you smell it initially. And I was very surprised by that. I thought that okay, well, this is gonna be a nice little different type of summer freshie, but it's cool. The quality on this thing is amazing. Like, I really sat there and was like, oh, I'm really getting taken by these fragrance notes, and the way that they play out is so effortless and so smooth as it goes into its transitions. As it starts to dry down, it gets a little bit more salty, and you're like, okay, now I really feel like I'm at the beach. And you start to pick up a little bit of this waxiness that kind of comes about. So as it goes into that dry down, about 30 minutes in or so, well, actually maybe even a little bit earlier, is when that waxiness starts to kind of intro itself. If you smell it from the top of the bottle, you start to kind of pick it up from there. But when it actually sprays on, it takes about maybe 20 minutes to get into that waxiness. But it's a waxiness that kind of comes in and kind of almost in the background, and that's that oleomanum. At that point, it gives it kind of a resinous, salty candiness. And that sounds kind of weird, but it works. It gives this really super pleasant, super beachy vibe. When I wore it to work the other day, one of my coworkers was saying that it really smelled like I was at the beach. She said it really invoked that feeling of being at the beach. And this was in probably about an hour and a half to 2 hour dry down, which is the other thing about this particular fragrance. So performance wise, this thing actually pumps, man. I was really impressed. This is something that you could go nose blind to quickly. It does give this really pleasant beachy vibe. Performance wise, it stayed on my skin no lie, about 8 or 9 hours. I mean, it really surprised me. I was like, this is really good quality. This is really good as far as like the bang for buck. You really can't beat it, man. If you want to find something that's going to be kind of different than just your standard freshie, everybody's done the Mahir legacies to death. Everybody's doing the your standard freshie stuff to death. Try something like this. This is more of the watery marine type of fragrance, but it works so well. And I think part of the reason why is because of that resinness and because of that sweetness from the Sicilian mandarin. I think those things play into it and make it a nice, smooth, pleasant ride, man, to the beach. I love it. I give it a good 8.5 out of 10. Definitely. I gotta boatload of compliments on this thing. I'm looking forward to maybe wearing this out, you know, in the 90 to 100 degree weather and see how it performs. The 85 degree weather that I was in, which was the hottest part of the day when I walked out, it did pump off the skin a good little bit. It didn't, you know, like overbear, but it definitely pumped off the skin. The heat did activate it. So I definitely look into this, man. I think this is actually a really good fragrance, bang for the buck wise. And you can find it right now on most of, I think I got this one from fragrancebuy.ca, but I think you can find it right now on most of the discounters. You're looking probably in that $40 range for it. It's definitely worth the blind buy. So if you're looking around for something that's different, try picking it up, man. That's my time today. But guys, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification buttons. In the meantime, guys, peace out. See you guys on the next vid.